I would like to welcome you very warmly. During today's presentation, we will discuss why some attitudes cause that you cannot succeed. This presentation is different from presentations 1 to 4 and it is the presentation addressed to you. It includes more information which may cause that you change some attitudes. The presentations from 1 to 4 are presentations given as if they were live, as if I was doing them for a new person and gave this person a training of a presentation. Let's get to the point. Meeting agenda. We will talk about the attitude to work, the attitude to success, the attitude to making money, and generally about the attitude to motivation. There are 4 elements which help someone achieve really great success or which may hinder someone from generating truly great results and effects. The first thing, the attitude to making money. People who work in an office often say that they are tired or overworked, and then a question always comes to my mind, and what will you say to this man in the photo? Is his work light or hard? It is important to know that if we are to work hard in life, and it will surely be so, then it is good to earn money from it. Some time ago, this man told me that one should work in a project where you earn money even when you sleep. And I thought, well, I don't know of any work where they pay for sleeping, but that wasn't the point. It was about creating an effect that after some time from getting involved in it, you receive money for the work you did some time ago, and that work done some time ago pays out. And when I understood what marketing is about, I thought, this is it. For if I register someone, let's say in January 2022, and this person wants to purchase products, then in the year 2023 or even later, such a person will still place orders although they were registered a long time ago. So if you are to work hard, make it an opportunity to get richer because one has to work in marketing to achieve great results. But when you are employed, you also have to work. The difference is that when you are an employee, you don't have any vision that such work will ever end. When one is employed, it unfortunately means that when you've worked for several years and get fired, then you don't have much from the work done earlier. While here, if you create a good network, then you have the results from it regardless of whether you work on it more or less. Remember that both being an employee and working in marketing requires commitment at the beginning, yet marketing offers the opportunity for achieving really great results more than an average financial result. And also, the time of acquiring financial independence is shorter. Next, we have attitudes to making money. We often work for some rate of pay and then we go to a petrol station and see how quickly we run out of money. I've always thought what could be done to make money earn money for me. There is a nice parable entitled Pablo and Bruno, which tells of 2 people who carried water from the top of the mountain and they were given money for each bucket carried down. At some point, one of the brothers started to build a pipeline from one village to another so that he did not have to carry those buckets of water. Obviously, the brother who kept carrying the buckets while the other was building the entire infrastructure to bring the water down to the village was laughing at the other brother because he kept earning money and the other brother invested his time and energy in building that pipeline. Yet when the pipeline was finished, the other brother could travel all around the world because the pipeline was still working and the first brother had to carry the buckets of water till the end of his life. Therefore, it is so important to work in systems which earn money for you, and marketing is one of them. For if you build a solid consumer and seller network once, which will encompass both consumers buying products for themselves and sellers who will generate higher sales, and there will also be some leaders who will also earn money on that and will see to this business and thus see to your business, then you will understand that such a distribution may also work, but the other way round, i.e. for your remuneration. Attitudes to making money means it often happens that if people are successful, then other people claim that they have surely stolen it or did it in an illegal way. This excuse may be funny on one hand, but generally it is pathetic because if you assume that rich people had to steal, then you will never be rich because you do not want to be a thief. If you are convinced that someone succeeded because they were born into a good family, then you will never try to succeed because you stated that you had been born into a poor family. It is worth getting somehow inspired by rich people, being motivated by them because rich people are often cool people. It is not so that each rich person has to be bad. Is it so in your life that each poor person is cool? In my life, I have met both rich people who were not cool and poor people who were not cool, and the opposite. Thus, it is advisable to draw inspiration from such people instead of having an excuse that they have surely done it in an illegal way. Cash flow quadrant. It seems that everyone should know this quadrant because it is the basis for understanding how money operates in the network itself and how the generally promoted wealth operates in general. On the left side, there are employees or those who are entrepreneurs working alone, the so-called self-employed. The share of the people on the left side is equal to 80%, and attention please, they earn just 20% of the entire wealth in the world, which means that almost 80%, and some sources even state that 90% of people earn just 10 or 20% of the entire wealth in the world. On the right side, we have business owners, i.e. people who have someone to work for them, or are investors, who are people whose money works for them. And on this side, there are 20% of people and 80% of wealth in the world which they earn. Sometimes it is even said to be 90%. Marketing is on the right side because here you invest your time, and if you accomplish the development of a big consumer network with people doing orders, then you receive a commission on it and do not have to deliver anything to them. In this case, the business is about giving other people the opportunities for earning money as well. When people in your group earn big money, then when they see to their business, they also see to yours. Remember that marketing may be somehow compared to a real property. If you lease out 5 flats to people and earn money on them, then when you create a network of people that will earn the same money for you, then in both cases it is passive income because when they place orders they are served by a company and you receive the money for the work done earlier. If you lease out one-room flats to people who pay for them, then you have a passive income. The only difference is that in order to buy flats you have to have a very high credit rating or really lots of money. In this case, registration is free and it is only your commitment and energy that may cause that you become rich. The next attitude to working. There is a rule that when you hear something, then you forget it. When you write down something, you forget it, but when you do something, you understand it. Therefore, if you are a person who wants to develop this network, wants to achieve great results quickly, then you have to start with doing the meetings very quickly. You have to very quickly learn how to give presentations and give them. Only those people who started immediately with the skill of giving the presentations and had people registering on the system could feel that they are good in it, that they are effective. You will memorize everything that you do, yet whatever is heard during the trainings or written down will be unfortunately forgotten in the long run. So if you want to do something, do it immediately. Act, as this is how you learn the most. There is one more similar diagram which is very important. There are 4 quadrants in which people spend their whole life or perform activities. So we have a quadrant of things that are both important and urgent. We have things that are important but not urgent. We have things that are not important but urgent, and things which are not important and not urgent. The first quadrant of things both important and urgent include crises. That are the situations which require immediate response, or there is a deadline set for them which has to be met. Usually they are things that happen every day. Someone breaks their arm or has to go to the doctor, the tap leaks and has to be turned off. These are the elements which people do every day. Quadrant number 3. There are things which are not important but urgent. You get some emails, phone calls which contribute nothing. They are urgent because you have to answer them, but they are not important because they do not result in anything special. Quadrant number 4 includes things which are not urgent and not important, and they are all types of the so-called time wasters, such as games which contribute nothing meaningful to your life, while quadrant number 2 is a quadrant which may change your life the most. Yet, as it includes unfortunately the things important but not urgent, then the word not urgent causes people to postpone them. It may include, for example, the change of your figure, the change of your diet, development of a network and marketing. All of them are important. Everyone wants to look good, earn lots of money, be healthy. Yet it is not urgent because one can, as people say, always start next Monday. Therefore, quadrant number 2 changes a lot in your life. You should focus on it because the remaining 3 are dealt with as they arise and they contribute nothing. And now let's talk about the attitude to success. Some time ago I attended a training called The Millionaire Mind, where some guy told us to break an arrow with our necks. At that point I thought to myself, where am I? I was to attend a Millionaire Mind training and they tell me to break the arrow with my neck. I did not want to make an idiot of myself and I did not want to do that, but all the people around me persuaded me to do so. Come on, they said, let's break the arrow, it will be cool. I was terrified but tried to do it. In our group there was a lady, I think she was about 80 years old, and she encouraged me, "Son, go on, let's break the arrow with our necks." I was afraid because the tip of the arrow had to be put to the throat, the second person was blocking it with a board or their palm, and one had to strongly move forward to break the arrow with that movement. I was very afraid that I would strangle myself, I was afraid of rupturing my artery and bleeding to death. And the sheet of paper that we signed to do this experiment included the statement that if I had bled to death, then the organizer could not be held liable for that. And thus I was standing with that arrow on my throat and it hurt me when it touched my neck, and at some point that lady told me, "Come on son, let's do it." And she was the first one to do that very quick movement, and she broke that arrow, screamed and told me, "I did it, now it's your turn." And I looked at her and said, that lady had nothing to lose. And so I stood once again and started to do the movement forward, but I was doing it slowly and it did hurt me, and I thought that I would not manage. And at some point I moved forward with all my might and the arrow broke. And what was interesting, I didn't feel any pain at all. After the whole experiment we asked the organizer why were we doing it. And he told us that when people think about a decision to be made for a very long time, then it hurts them and they have problems starting things, and people who make decisions quickly often do it without any pain, and in spite of being afraid or scared, they act in spite of fear. Tell me, didn't someone suggest doing this project, you enrolled but you haven't started with it? I always say that we have the so-called 2 dates. It is the date of first registration and the date of starting the cooperation. There are many people who, even during registration, are afraid to join because they have different objections in their minds. Think a lot about it. The longer you think, the more difficult it is to make a decision. As people say, sometimes it is better to regret something you have done than regret never doing it, because there are many people who think, "I will not manage, I'm not fit for it." And then it all clicks and turns out they were meant to work in such a business model, so give yourself a chance and try. Many people don't even try and then they regret not trying it. The next is attitude to success. 3 sentences which totally kill your business. First of all, I am not sure. The second one, I have no time. The third one, I don't have money to spend. I will not invest. I do not have money. Those 3 sentences make it very difficult to change something in your surroundings, for if you are not sure about something, then when are you going to gain this confidence? In my opinion, confidence is gained when we start doing something, and the better we cope with such activities, the more confident we are. I do not know any person that was confident before starting a given activity. One has to perform given activities in an effective way to increase their self-confidence, and therefore one has to try. If someone tells you that they don't have time, then they will probably never have it, because time comes down to priorities, and I have noticed that organized people who have a lot of things to do still have time and can do all other activities. If someone tells you that they do not have any money or do not want to spend money, then I instantly say that if you do not want to invest money in such a simple thing like marketing where registration is free, there are no obligations, and in fact spending money involves everyday activities like spending money on coffee or something to eat. I think that money is spent in the same way in any other work. If you do not have money for that, and I do not know what you have it for because the majority of businesses require very big investments. Often the only goal people have is to repay a credit for their flat, and now we have to ask whether you want your life to look like that. Obviously, you can be a person that travels, you can be a person that is not interested in having their own flat, yet statistically there are many people who would like to have their own place. It is very important to start working a bit differently. Unfortunately, the system causes people to go to work and be happy with getting a bank loan. I don't know how one can be happy with getting a loan. When you tie yourself down for 40 years and you don't know whether you'll repay it at all, you don't know whether your company will operate, and someone is satisfied with it, and even people working in the bank sometimes congratulate you on this. Therefore, it is important to start cooperation in marketing because if you start generating above average financial results, then you gain a chance of buying such a flat instead of taking out a loan. Being an owner of such a flat will surely give you considerable comfort, peace of mind, and will surely let you allocate money to other things. The next attitude to success is that we make things meaningful on our own. It often happens that we seek people who may confirm that what we do is good, while there is no such business in the world where everyone keeps their fingers crossed for you and has always good things to tell about you. Therefore, if someone tells you that this marketing is not so cool, then it is no reason to give up. If you have knowledge about stereotypes, objections, excuses, the opportunities offered by marketing, and you see the meaning in it, then do it. Important is what we make meaningful. Do not look for people around us who will tell us what to do. If you see the meaning in something, simply do it. Attitude to making money. There is such a saying that money will not bring you happiness. I have to say that at that moment I asked myself why my parents work 8 to 10 hours a day. If they do the things that occupy 1/3 of half the day and they are not important, then what things are important? I once read another saying that money will not bring happiness but give better quality of life where we can function, where we can act. First of all, the money that we earn surely gives us more time, a more peaceful mind, and this is an interesting fact when someone says that money does not bring happiness. Someone said that money does not bring happiness to those who do not have it because if one has money, then such a person does not think about it but does other things. They may travel the world, they may develop their passion. Another thing I heard somewhere is that it is better to cry in a Porsche than in some worse car. I do not know which one is better. I think that it is better not to cry at all. While I have not met any people yet who feel sorry because they earn money if they do it in a wise way, and firstly if they are experts in it. It often happens that people who have more are unfortunately envied by other people. It is not a good basis for achieving success. If people who have more money trigger aggression or envy in you, then I do not know any person who has built a great business based on envy. You just have to be someone who is inspired by such people, and they should not arouse negative emotions in you. If such people make you feel some anxiety, irritation, a sense of injustice, then you will not get involved in any project. People who achieved high results in marketing have always inspired me, and I have always asked them how they did it. What should be done? Can you suggest something to me? They inspired me to act and not to feel envy. It is also very important to manage the money skillfully. There is a story about a child that bought 2 scoops of ice cream and was going somewhere with their mother, and suddenly as the child was waving their hands, the ice cream fell on the pavement. The child started to cry and was unhappy because they lost 2 scoops, and the mother obviously told the child that she would buy ice cream once again. The child asked for 2 scoops, and the mother said that wasn't an option and that she would buy just 1. The child nearly started crying and asked why only 1 scoop, and the mother answered, "If you don't know how to manage 2 scoops, then you have to first learn how to manage 1 scoop," and it is a thing which nicely shows how managing money works. There are people who earn several £1,000s, several €1,000, and they say that they cannot put anything aside. The principle is very simple. If you do not know how to put aside small amounts, then you should not earn lots of money. For if you start earning big money, then you will have even bigger problems. While doing marketing, even when I was working on lower positions, I was able to put the money aside, which makes it even simpler for me to manage it on a higher level. Therefore, you should learn how to earn and save money, manage small amounts to be prepared to earn lots of money. As far as the attitude to motivation is concerned, there is a rocket called Saturn V which had to travel about 250,000 miles or 400,000 kilometers and consumed a total of 2,700 tons of fuel. It had the whole tank of fuel. What was interesting were individual phases of its flight. At the beginning, it consumed as many as 2,000 tons of fuel and traveled only 42 miles or 70 kilometers. In the next phase, lasting about 6 minutes, it consumed 450 tons of fuel and traveled 110 miles or 175 kilometers. And in the third phase, it stabilized the direction of flight and consumed 115 tons of fuel. What's the conclusion? More than 90% of fuel was consumed within 17 minutes for traveling just 125 miles of all 250,000, 200 kilometers of all 400,000 kilometers. The same happens to your business when you start doing marketing. People working under you don't earn. The only person that can initiate the whole team is you. If your commitment and attitude are so important at the beginning and you work on and off, you do it once in a while, then you won't achieve very high results, very great success, because such people unfortunately don't have people who will help them develop it in their groups. Therefore, your start is so important. If you do your utmost at the beginning, you are committed to the development, then it will surely help the expansion of your network accelerate. If such a rocket told itself at the start, "Well, I will take some time off," then it will surely crash. Attitude and being focused are of great importance as well. First of all, in the area of opportunities, there is a story about 2 monks, the older one and a younger one, who were taking holy orders. During that ceremony, they were told that they could not touch women and could not even look in their direction. After the holy orders were ordained, the 2 monks went to the forest, and there, at a riverbank, they met a woman. The woman asked them to carry her across the river. The older monk picked her up and carried her across. It took him just 30 seconds. He put her on the ground, she thanked him, and he continued his journey. When they were going through the forest, the younger monk kept thinking why the older one had done it. He was thinking, how could you do that? It is unforgivable. There were holy orders ordained. When he could not stand all those questions anymore, he pulled the older monk and asked him, "Monk, why did you agree to touch that woman if you knew that we could not do that?" And the monk turned around and answered, "I was carrying her for 30 seconds and you have already had this woman in your mind for 2 hours. It is a perfect story showing how many people can be strongly affected by some failures and carry such failures within them. It happens sometimes that we do meetings that some people get registered, and then it is enough to have just one meeting where someone says no, and instead of being happy with people who have been registered who want to cooperate with us, we are deeply affected with those who haven't registered. Obviously, it is worth drawing conclusions from the people who refused, whereas it is important to seize the chance with people who want to do it. If we are affected by failures all the time, we will never move forward. It is also worth remembering that if we have our team, then this team cannot live by motivation from the last several years. When you are hungry, you eat here and now. You cannot satisfy your hunger with food eaten a month ago. The same happens with motivation. We often think that when we motivated someone to work in marketing, then there is no use in doing it again. If so, then why do you need to regularly listen to coaches to be motivated in the gym, when you know what to do after all? Why do professional competitors have their coaches who motivate them all the time to do the utmost? They know what to do after all. This is how motivation works. Some people are determined and some have only motivation and need stimulation to act. Remember that your team also needs it. Lastly, I would like to ask you, what gives motivation? People often act because they feel some pain and want to change something. They are in the so-called discomfort zone. Sometimes people act out of pleasure, and this is what I wish you, that marketing gives you some pleasure, a vision of how your life will change when you achieve high results. People often act because of fear. They have problems with their finances, life disappoints them, and then they start doing marketing to get to know interesting people and earn money, achieve success. Yet, of all the reasons mentioned before, there have to be some goals of yours. That is what makes you want to act. This is the most important thing which will support you throughout your chosen path. If you analyze the biographies of famous sportsmen, they always say that there was some reason, some strong goal which helped them endure. There are so many people who may say, "Okay, I do not want to do it anymore, I give up." But there is this reason that will keep you going, that you will not give up. People often say that you have to be in the right place at the right time, yet you have to be the right person as well. We have situations that people who registered with us earlier do not generate better results than people who have joined us recently, because it may be somehow important where you are at such a point, and in this case it is OUVRE. The time is also important because the company has just started its development on foreign markets. You, however, have to be the right person, because it often happens that our attitude, approach, the way of communicating causes that we cannot appropriately manage the team, motivate people. Having all those things like time, place, company at once is not enough if you are not a person who correctly manages all of that. Therefore, all of it will be strongly supported by reason. For if you have a strong reason for doing something, then it will surely be the source of motivation and willingness to learn more, to improve your competence, to succeed. One of the reasons why people work with us includes unforgettable trips. In fact, it is my reason, and I always try to go on such a trip because I go there with people who are extremely positive, have lots of energy, and everything is all-inclusive. Those trips are so unforgettable that I hope that when you adopt a good attitude and become committed, you will join us during such trips. Thanks for listening, and I hope that all the attitudes discussed here will help you generate big results from your cooperation with us.